Kasi halimbawa, anti-political dynasty ban, medyo mahirap siya pag hindi siya constitutional dahil baka sabihin freedom of association, freedom of public service, tapos kailangan sabihin lang na ang limiting factor doon ay democracy, equal opportunity to the poor, so gano'n. So depende yan sa judge kung darating yan sa question of court. Pero baka ang gawin lang nila dyan, pag dumating yan sa question of court, it's a political question doctrine. So, it's the venue of the legislation, hindi sa korte. So, ewan ko, it's a tricky topic.
Yeah.
Pero honestly, in an ideal world, sana wala talagang political dynasty, no?
Yeah. I agree that.
Oo. Natsotsyempohan lang na mabait yung mga political dynasty. Or hindi naman mabait. Alam yung ginagawa sa governance. Ito kasi yung nakakainis na ngayon talaga sa LGUs natin. Yung laging may paayuda. I mean, okay lang naman. Pero still, hindi naman yun yung dapat yung gawin eh. DSWD nga ang gawa dapat ng ano eh.
Ito naman kasi yun.
Negate ko naman.
Decentralization of power. So, halimbawa, yun nga, guess ba yun? Hindi pwede, kumbaga parang, ano ba to? Napaka-basic nung question, hindi naman basic, very fundamental, is either decentralized or centralized government ang kikilos for that. Wala tayong gagawa. Parang priority ata decentralized. So, ano ba? Depende talaga. Ako kasi ano ba yan? I'm a liberal pero I'm okay with decentralized power. Depende kasi siya sa context. Hindi pwedeng, halimbawa, ikaw ay principled liberal or principled. Ewan ko. Hindi ako flexible, pero pag alam ko naman reasonable yung option na dapat ay ganito ang policy kahit conservative or liberal, yun ang sundin kasi yun ang nakakabuti. Hindi yung based on principle lang. Gets ba yun?
At saka kung gusto kasi natin din niya yung same-sex marriage, abortion rights, divorce, plebiscite niya talaga na baguhin sa constitution yung at revised penal code, yung pagiging anti-divorce, anti-abortion, and anti-same-sex marriage.
Ang same-sex marriage at saka abortion, pwede siyang maging i-unconstitutionalize.
Oo.
Sa family code at sa penal code. Pero ang divorce siya ay political question doctrine for me kasi fine kung i-repeal mo ang divorce, anong avenue mo for dissolution of marriage? So gagawa yung, gets mo ba yon? Kumbaga parang yung mechanism noon ay sa legislative na, kasi pag na-solve mo ang marriage, ano ang mangyayari? It's a legal chaos. So talagang kung gusto mo magka-divorce sa Philippines, mag-elect ka ng mga pro-divorce candidates sa both Senate and legislature at even the presidency. Ganon. Kaya nga minsan gusto ko talaga parliamentary system or unitary presidential system. Hindi ko gusto yung American bicameral presidential system. Pwedeng presidential system basta unicameral. For me
Oo.
Pag parliamentary, pwede kang mag-unitary or bicameral. Basta ako bicameral kapag parliamentary, pero kapag presidential system, gusto ko unitary.
Okay. That's wait lang. Kasi
pag bicameral, presidential, ang daming dalawang layers of dalawang layers of
Passing
hindrance.
laws.
Hindi, dalawang hindrance of passing laws kasi kailangan i-approve ni senator ng Senate, kailangan i-approve ni president, tapos pag hindi na-approve ni president, i-veto uli. So parang masyadong mabagal. Ang akin lang minsan efficiency. Ang akin lang hindi naman ang akin lang matagal na siya ang law bago na may pasa, inaabot ng siyam-siyam. So ang akin lang, bakit hindi na lang siya ipasa agad-agad? Kasi ibig sabihin doon, pag inabot siya ng siyam-siyam, nag-watered down na yung fervent emotions and passions ng Senate. Ibig sabihin, naging rational siya over time. Kasi pinagdebatihan na yan. Tapos kung hahadlangan lang siya ni Senate at saka ni President, parang ano ba yun? Parang kalokohan naman. Kaya gusto ko unitary presidential system para pag pinasa ni lower house or ni unicameral house, tapos pipirmahan lang ni president, medyo single lever of power na isang hindrance na lang or isang check and balance na lang na system. Tapos para mas maging safe, parang kailangan may constitutional bodies din na may COMELEC, may human rights, may constitutional court. So, ganun lang yung gusto kong system pag presidential. Unitary presidential system. Parang Taiwan.
Taiwan, South Korea.
Di ba bicameral sa South Korea?
No.
Unicameral lang? Check ko nga.
Oo. 315 House members ang South Korea National Assembly. Tama ba ako? 300.
Unicameral nga lang. So, ako talaga...
300 pala.
So, ang presidential system nag-work kapag unicameral lang. Ewan ko.
I mean, if you think so, ako kasi to be honest, I don't really believe that I don't really believe that concept.
Paano ba kailan ba nag-work ang presidential system versus parliament? Ano ba ang mga system para hindi kailangan para mag-work ang presidential system, kailangan ang voters smart, enlightened. Pero pag hindi ganoon ang kamalayan, Diyos ko, kaloka.
Kahit naman sa parliamentary elections nga, may mga nakakapasok pa rin tatanga-tanga.
Ay, okay lang yun. At least nawa-water down yun. Nawa-water down. Sa presidential system, hindi nawa-water down.
Okay, I could always, pag narinig ko yung ganyan na I could always say, have you heard of India? Have you heard of South Asian politics?
Okay.
Yeah. Ang dami ring mga tabogo sa parliamentary system ng India.
Pero kasi ito kasi ang point ko. Pag presidential, pag parliamentary, madali mo siyang madaling matanggal ang prime minister through vote of no confidence. Kapag presidential, kailangan mo ng impeachment na mahaba, matagal, at hindi pa sigurado. So kung halimbawa medyo bobo or kaya naman corrupt yung president, hindi siya agad natatanggal. Pero pag ang prime minister ay gumawa ng bobo at medyo corrupt, madaling tanggalin. Ngayon, bakit sa India ay hindi natatanggal ang prime minister kahit may vote of no confidence? Ikaw baga naman bayaran mo lahat siguro ng pera o kaya naman political favors, hindi ka talaga matatanggal. Pero kung halimbawa, let's say, kakaboto ka na medyo matali-talino ng konting talino siguro naman medyo okay ang India. Gets? Kasi at the end of the day, kailangan kapag ang head of state or head of government ay bobo or incompetent or corrupt, kailangan ma-held accountable. So ano bang sistema ang mas madaling ma-held accountable at effective? Parliamentary or presidential? Kaya I always go with parliamentary. Pag presidential, gusto ko unicameral, enlightened voters, tapos may mga additional system checks, constitutional bodies as COMELEC, CHR, constitutional courts. Ganun lang. For me. For me lang naman do.
Gets ko naman yung ano. Hindi, pero hindi sa tingin ba di nagana yung ano? Yung other government agencies kapag
Actually, hindi
may
talaga
ginagawa.
magana kung ang nag-i-elect ay kung siya ay hindi siya gagana kung ang halimbawa ACHR o kaya ay COMELEC, kailangan ang mag-a-approve sa kanila, mag-a-appoint mga local legislatures. Yun medyo mahirap siya na magkaroon ng conflict of interest or kaya ay palakasan system kasi iba't ibang legislature dyan, good luck na lang kapag halimbawa lahat ng legislature na yun same wavelength. Gets mo ba yung point ko? Hindi kagaya sa kasi masyado madami yun eh. Mahirap magkaroon ng same wavelength, mahirap suhunan lahat, paano ka ba-explain? Mahirap magkaroon ng direct line kung masyado madami. Pero kung kakaunti yan, ay madali yun. Kasi centralized lahat, nagiging centralized, magiging madaling i-control lahat. Pero pag ganun kadami ang magboboto para mag-elect or mag-appoint ng mga justices, mag-appoint ng COMELEC chairmans, I think gets ba yun? Mas stringent at saka mas less conflict of interest kapag decentralized government ang gumagawa nun. Kapag centralized, gets ba yun? Masyadong powerful. Ang akin lang ganito na pag centralized government na nag-check sa iyo, ang nag-appoint, tapos sila yung in-appoint ang mag-check and balance sa nag-appoint, anong sense nun? May conflict of interest lagi yung ganun. Imposible, hindi nawawala yun.
Sabagay. Totoo naman. Totoo naman yun.
Kasi ang unang assumption doon, ang unang assumption dapat kasing isipin na nagiging corrupt ang politician over time. So dapat, ang gagamitin mong check and balances ay yung mga hindi ina-appoint ng mga politician na yun. Para may check and balances.
Okay. Wait lang. Yeah, okay.
Si Theo,
ano pa ba yan? Hindi, wala. Nagsasilent. Mamaya na lang tayo magsasalita kapag ano.
Sige.
Okay na.
Ako natutuwa talaga kay Andrew. Ang problema mali talaga yung kanyang strategy na hindi kasi mayor na nga agad. Mayor. Taga New York City.
Well, sa Upper New York siya nakatira dati.
Kaya wala siyang connection sa bagay baka si Hillary. Si Hillary kasi like ng New Yorkers. At saka during that time gusto ng mga New Yorkers na first female US Senator from New York.
Kaso carpetbaggers.
Okay lang. Akin lang kung hindi si Hillary, sino at that time naman. Kasi that time talaga parang sino nga bang ang makakalaban ni Hillary sana noon? I think si
Janine Pirro.
Ano?
Janine Pirro.
Hindi
yung nasa Fox News na.
Hindi noon, noong 2000.
Yung una yung kalaban.
Ha?
Ay, hindi. 2006 pala yun. Oo nga, mali yung 2000.
Hindi kasi kung 2000 siya. Kasi tumakbo siyang first mayor ng New York ay 2000. So si Giuliani. Diyos ko, Giuliani versus Hillary. Sino makakatalo kay Giuliani? Most likely mga like si Hillary Clinton lang. Kung gusto mo babae, tapos makakalaban.
Si Rick Lazio yung nakalaban ni former Senator Hillary.
So siniwerte din si Hillary. So yun. Parang, ewan ko baga, sayang si Hillary, pero ano gagawin natin? Tapos na yun eh. Ang focus natin, kung gusto mong maging next female president, na Democrat. Kasi Nikki Haley baka 2028 lumaban yun. Kamala or Gretchen Whitmer or Kamala, kasi kung gusto mo ng female Democrat, feeling ko Kamala at saka Gretchen Whitmer lang. Tapos pag gay ay si Jared Polis at saka si Pete Buttigieg. Di bongga.
Pero may argument kasi si Lawrence
pero
O'Donnell.
Si Pete kasi may ano siya I will say medyo anapiling siya.
Ano?
Medyo anapiling si Pete.
Medyo anapiling pa ba?
To be honest. Kaya nga, wary ako kay Secretary Pete. Ito yung argument ni Lawrence O'Donnell eh.
Kasi nga, of course, since I was in a lot of progressive leftist circles in like 2020 or something like that, ayaw talaga nila si Pete eh. Ano daw, para daw, sabihin na natin plastic.
Di kung ganyan
plastic
ako.
Flip-flopper. Gets ko si Theo. Kaya hindi ko nga trip siya Secretary Buttigieg.
Pero kung ganun...
Parang ang bland.
Ang bland?
To be honest. As a campaign performer no primaries. Masyado siyang elitist din yung yung demeanor niya. Yun kasi yung nakikita ko. Kaya sabi ko sa sarili ko parang I don't like this guy. Anyway. Ito naman. Ito yung about dun sa about dun sa sinasabi mo kanina, Red, or somewhat similar. Kasi nga, some, di ba, other Democrats...
Did you know you can generate an...
Wait lang. Other Democrats... wait lang. Other Democrats, di ba, parang gusto nilang mapalitan si President Biden. Senile, old, gets mo na. And ito yung magiging argument ni Lawrence O'Donnell dito, being a former political staffer.
Well, tonight, President Biden is walking into a fundraiser in San Francisco right about now, where he will continue to build his big lead over Donald Trump in campaign fundraising. Before the president left for California yesterday, this was the single most childish question the White House press corps delivered.
Mr. President, good afternoon, sir. You're going to California. Is this about coming up with a plan B for 2024? Does Gavin need to stand by?
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm looking at you.
Yes,
We're looking at you.
Sir,
Hey, whoa. What I came to tell you was, I told you we'd be announcing sanctions on Russia. We'll have a major package announced on Friday. I'll be happy to sit with you all doing that, okay?
When you send,
who would you rather challenge in November, Nikki Haley or Donald Trump?
Oh, I don't care.
And they don't care. They don't care that Joe Biden...
Diba? Parang President Biden doesn't care kung sino makalaban niya in November. Anyway, parang wait lang, di pa to yung gusto ko maano mo eh.
Biden just described the serious work that he is doing in the Oval Office behind closed doors, developing a new package of sanctions against Russia for Vladimir Putin's assassination of Putin's political opponent, Alexei Navalny. They don't care. They are horse race reporters, and the horse race is the presidential campaign. And so you can rely on them to waste an opportunity to talk to the president of the United States about the actual work that he does, and instead come up with wise guy questions like, does Gavin need to stand by? That's a reference, of course, to California Governor Gavin Newsom, who could not be more strongly supporting Joe Biden's reelection campaign. Those reporters and much of the pundit class and recreational commentators on presidential campaigns, whose voices are heard on a variety of non-political shows and podcasts, don't understand where we are in the presidential campaign. The short answer to where we are in the presidential campaign is that we are in the fourth quarter of the presidential campaign. The truth is that presidential campaigns are 4 years long. The news media doesn't begin covering them until the third year of the campaign. We're now in the fourth year of the campaign. When Donald Trump was inaugurated as the President of the United States on January 20th, 2017, the other thing he did that very day was file his candidacy papers for re-election. So if you think of a presidential campaign as a long plane flight over, say, the Atlantic Ocean, the plane is now somewhere over the North Atlantic approaching Ireland. It's not the time for someone to decide that the pilot who has flown this plane before successfully should be pulled out of the cockpit because he's too old, and some passenger named Gavin, who has never flown one of these planes, should take over. Gavin.
I remembered yung ano mo nga di ba? Yung sabi mo na the experience of a person matters, not just yung what they will offer to the table. Diba?
Pero to be fair naman kay Gavin
tell me.
Newsom, naging mayor, wide experience siya sa executive decisions. Mayor ng, I think, San Francisco, lieutenant governor, tapos governor. So, tapos charismatic, guwapo. We'll see. Maganda ang 2024, 2028 na race. Sino kaya ang, kung sino-sino ang mga tatakbo. We have a good bench of governors, so I'm okay with that.
It's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a messy primary. It's gonna be 2016 all over.
Hindi naman, kasi ang, hindi naman,
if President Biden wins.
Hindi, kung sa 2028, I think it's not going to be messy kasi South Carolina ang first filter. So, kailangan, automatically, ang mananalo doon, medyo maganda siyang filter. Kasi ang una kailangan candidate moderate. Kasi yung mga blacks doon ay mga black conservative pero loyal sa Democratic Party.
The older blacks.
Tapos maganda rin yung South Carolina kasi medyo malaki na. Medyo magastos. Hindi na siya launchpad. Kailangan talaga launchpad plus launchpad 2.0 na siya. Tapos kailangan...
Pero it doesn't... ito lang yung akin. Saglit lang. Pero kasi for me, yung South Carolina kasi hindi ka naman magiging competitive talaga sa presidential election Sa presidential primary, siguro. Pero presidential election, I don't think so na magiging competitive yung South Carolina.
For me, competitive siya. Hindi, ang akin lang, kailangan mo muna maging competitive sa primary bago maging competitive sa general election. Kasi you're not just getting the votes. Kasi parang ang assumption doon, South Carolina is the bellwether of all left-leaning independent, right-center. Feeling ko, yun ang kanilang ang feel ko, oo. Bellwether siya ng left-leaning candidates, right candidates. Kasi ang ginagawa natin, kasi ngayon nakukuha na ng mga Democrats, ang mga center-right na voters. Though fickle.
And never Trumper yung mga yun
Ayun nga, ang point ko. So, kailangan may candidate na nag-a-appeal in a larger number of voters. So, I think South Carolina yon so far. Kasi, pero kung gusto mo talaga ng wider range of voters, sabi daw nila sa study based on the Vox study is Illinois. Pero masyado magastos sa Illinois pag magla-launchpad ka. Kaya, South Carolina is decent. Or sana Georgia na, nagsimula sa Georgia. Para talagang tansya mo na agad kung sino ang bellwether. Ay hindi, magastos din sa Georgia. Kaya nga ang ginawa nila South Carolina muna. And then Georgia, Michigan, and then I think South Carolina, New Hampshire, Georgia, Michigan, o di ba bongga? Inilalaban mo na yung candidate sa, kung sino yung best candidate for independence. Kasi nakuha mo na yung mga doon lagi nagkakatalo independence, kaya nanalo ang Democrat sa election kasi nakukuha nila independence lately.
Hindi, pero yung sa una talaga, officially, New Hampshire talaga pinakauna eh. Kasi hindi pumayag ang hindi pumayag ang New Hampshire na mahuhuli sila eh. So,
Actually, second
technically,
nga.
New
Ang
Hampshire.
alam ko, second nga sila eh. So, okay lang yun.
Hindi, nauna pa rin sila sa pagpili ng presidential primary candidate eh. Pero, sa March pa yung official, ano nga dyan? Releasing of the results. Kaya yun lang naman yun sa akin doon. Anyway, we can
Ano ba
continue
yung,
this.
dalhin na natin yung
Newsom
pinaka-importante
has
na ano. Para
Alin?
marami tayong mausap. Ano ba yung pinaka-importante dyan sa ano, kay Lawrence?
Hindi, ito na wait lang, inaano ko nga eh. Yun, inaano yung sa yun nga, banat ng mga other Democrats na dapat mapalitan na si President Biden. And ito nga yung argument niya. Wait lang. About this.
Every one
Wait
of
lang.
those people who say Joe Biden
No.
should drop
Hindi sino. On why they're making that case. And ito yung case nga on why the president should not be dropped on his presidential re-election. Ito, wait lang.
about must now say exactly who the nominee should be, and none of them do. None of them say that. Some of them suggest a long string of names of possibilities. That list always includes Gavin Newsom, and so you would think that in their articles and their comments on podcasts and TV, they would show you all of those polls where Gavin Newsom polls better than Joe Biden against Donald Trump. There must be so many of those polls, but there aren't any. The most recent poll substituting other Democratic names for Biden against Donald Trump, included only Vice President Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom. It's an Emerson poll that is now 10 days old. Donald Trump was polling at 45 against Joe Biden at 44. Substituting Kamala Harris as the candidate produced a result of Donald Trump polling at 46 against Vice President Harris at 43. And substituting Gavin Newsom's name produced an even worse result, with Trump polling at 46 and Gavin Newsom polling at 36. 36. Gavin Newsom might not know how to run a presidential campaign, but he knows how to read polls. You would think, with the way the media obsessed over every poll it can find, that they would have noticed these polls. And how does today's poll from Quinnipiac fit in the dump Biden strategy? A national poll by Quinnipiac shows Joe Biden at 49 and Donald Trump at 45. Now, I mentioned the polls not because I have great faith in polls at this stage of the campaign, but just to point out the challenge you have if you want to argue that the Democratic nominee for president should not be Joe Biden. There is no substitute candidate who polls better than Joe Biden. Now, assuming you still believe in Gavin Newsom, even though he's polling 10 points behind Donald Trump, you must then explain how your choice of nominee gets the nomination. The more thoughtful dump Biden proponents have actually recently tried to work their way through the maze of how someone other than Joe Biden can be nominated for the president in the Democratic Party. They all rely on Joe Biden, first of all, releasing all of his delegates at the convention on Monday, August 19th. And they all assume that the delegates who have showed up for the convention, at least 90% of whom will be Biden delegates, maybe more, will then easily agree on Gavin Newsom. You certainly get the feeling that most people who want to dump Joe Biden also want to dump Kamala Harris from the ticket. They don't seem to fear what would happen among a key voting demographic who delivered the presidency to Joe Biden and the vice presidency to Kamala Harris: Black women voters. One thoughtful essay about this process reminded us that this is the way Abraham Lincoln was chosen at the Republican convention in 1860. It took 3 long ballots to nominate Abraham Lincoln. You can expect the balloting at the Democratic convention in August to take at least 3 ballots, maybe more. And you can imagine what the press would say about the Democrats struggling to nominate a candidate and how much disarray they would figure into their reporting. You can hope that it's not a rerun of the 1924 Democratic Convention in New York City, when it took 103 ballots to nominate John Davis, who went on to lose to Calvin Coolidge. That Democratic convention lasted from June 24th to July 9th. 2 weeks to get a nominee who would lose. The last time the Democrats nominated a presidential candidate that way, he lost to Republican Richard Nixon. This is what that convention looked like in 1968 in Chicago, where there was violence in that convention hall and days of violence outside the convention hall, which was later described as a riot by the Chicago police against peaceful protesters by a commission that investigated the riots at the 1968 Democratic Convention, which ended up nominating Vice President Hubert Humphrey, who then went on to lose, because that's what happens after violent conventions like that.
Oh my God.
In just over 2 minutes, I'm going to show you how I
Sige,
created this
wait
ebook
lang.
using a feature.
1968, 1,968. There are going to be protesters. There always are. Usually they are not violent. This year, there will definitely be protesters supporting Israel, and there will definitely be protesters supporting Palestinians.
Oh, so this is a
Television
worry.
cameras will be trained on those protesters more than on delegates. The longer the convention goes on, trying to find a nominee, the messier it could get in Chicago. The modern orderly convention that is really are television shows produced by the party last 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And Thursday night in prime time is always the triumphant speech by the nominee. But at a contested convention, we have no idea what Thursday night might bring. Politically, throwing the nomination open in a contested convention is a step into the unknown. One thoughtful essay that has worked through this scenario suggests it would be very exciting TV for the first time at a political convention. That means for the first time since 1968, when you could watch the rioting live on TV during the convention, sometimes in split
No, I would
screens that
agree
showed
na,
the
no,
protesters
not agree.
being beaten.
Ito naman, I would argue na if dumating ang Democratic Convention in August, I don't think kahayaan lang ng Chicago Police na magka-riot ang mga pro-Palestine Democrats versus pro-Israel Democrats. But if that's gonna be the case, then of course it's gonna be a fucked up ass issue. Diba? Like we've said this over and time again now. If you don't want President Joe Biden to be president again because of being genocide Joe, right, Tio? Alam ko nakikinig ka, Tio. Alam mo to. We've talked about this shit. Yun na nga, di ba? And then, you want someone like Trump to, or former President Trump to be president? Or sino bang gusto nyo? Dr. Cornel West? Like, dude, lalo na sa mga pro-Palestine Democrats, he ain't got a chance. He doesn't have a chance to win. Okay? That's ridiculous. It's not gonna win as POTUS, 'di ba? Yun yung ano. So, ang point ko is magtiis na lang kayo kay President Biden muna because to be fair, he's trying to do his best to, make Prime Minister Netanyahu to stop. Yun nga lang, I acknowledge na hindi ganun kalakas yung opposition ni President Biden to the actions ng Israel, but I would adopt Tommy Viter's argument na Israel of the 1980s during President Reagan's presidency and Israel of 2024 on President Biden's presidency are different. Okay, diba? Alam niyo naman yun, napatigil ni President Reagan sinong Prime Minister ulit yun ng Israel, yung nag-invade ng Beirut. Nalimutan ko na. Hindi ko kasi, ang hirap kasi
Si Menachem Begin.
Ayun, yeah, si PM Begin, napigil niya. O, diba? Alam natin, alam mo yan, Tio, na diba? So, yun nga, like I said. Yun, yung kanina sinabi ko na magtiis na lang dapat muna ang mga pro-Palestine Democrats to President Biden. Kaysa naman hindi pa siya iboto or suportahan. Sure, it is,
Hindi,
ano
ang
to,
ano ni si Rashida Tlaib, ang ano niya parang nakalimutan ko tawag doon eh. Basta hindi abstain, but kind of like that.
nag-present vote.
Basta yun eh.
Nag-present vote siya.
Basta hindi abstain yung tawag doon eh. Pero basta
Yun yan,
parang hindi wala
present vote. Present vote yun.
primary. Basta yun eh. Basta yung parang yung in-advocate ni Tlaib at yung like other
Boycott.
pro-Palestine Democrat voters. In
Ah.
fact, some I've seen Arab Americans promote that kind of idea, and other Muslim Americans too. Non-Arab Muslim Americans as well, like Paks and Bangladeshis or something like that. Yeah. But anyway.
Pero I don't blame them. Okay, we get it. Yung killings ng Palestinians, Gazans na hindi naman kampi sa Hamas, ginagamit na human shield ng Hamas. Diba? Gets natin. Pero sa Israel, yung mga ordinary Israelis ba, di ba sila namamatay? Because of Hamas terrorism. Of course, they got killed. Hindi kasi yun naiisip ng mga bobong to eh. Pasensya na. Wala naman akong pake kung may makakita pa nito tapos nakinig to sinabi ko ngayon.
Pero to kasi ang ina-argue nila is yung tawag doon, hindi equal yung mga namamatay. Hindi equal. Yung arguments nila na
siguro
1,000 Israelis dead, there are like 10,000 Palestinians dead. Yung sinasabi din nila eh. Yung argumento din nila.
Nagigets naman natin. But for some of them to say na, di ba nga, Israel be erased.
Oh yeah, the whole dehumanization kind of thing. Yeah. I've seen that
diba?
shit from them.
Dahil ko nga nagsabi sa akin nun eh.
Oh.
Sige, continue mo yung yung thought mo about that.
Kasi nag-bat in lang ako, narinig ko sino yung pangalan ng Prime Minister yun, si Menachem Begin.
Yun kasi, napag-usapan niya. Yun nga yung inaano ko sa mga na to, American voters, young American voters na President Biden is better to handle the foreign policy of US on Israel than former President Trump. Alam niyo ba kung anong gagawin ni former President Trump? Sasabihin niya lang din yung sinabi niya sa Russia about sa NATO na I'll let them do I'll let them do whatever the hell they want. And that worries me, of course. Like, you want Russia to roll over to the eastern part of Europe again, to build the shitty Soviet Union 2.0 again? Like, come on. Yeah, you really are you really are President Putin's lapdog. Yun yung masasabi ko. Kaya nga, 'di ba, naalala ko din yung sinabi ni Red na it's worrying talaga if Trump becomes president again. Kasi baka hahayaan niya lang din na baka hayaan niya lang din niya talaga yung NATO na roll over ng Russia, 'di ba? So, it's fact. Pero about naman dun sa NATO saglit. Would you want PM Ruth to be the next NATO Sec Gen?
Sino?
Red?
Sino?
Si Mark Rutte?
Oo.
Si Ruth.
I mean, there's a possibility. There's
Hindi ko, actually wala akong, ang alam ko talaga ay naglalaban ng NATO chief ay si Mark Rutte at saka yung Prime Minister ng Denmark. Bahala na kung sino. Basta ang mahalaga ay hindi kami gerahin ng Russia.
Oo naman. Hindi, pero for me kasi, yung practicality of leadership, to be honest, ato lang naman akin. If I'm part of the NATO, I would suggest picking someone from Finland. Given with their history of the battle against Russia in the 1920s, how they whooped Russia's ass, 'di ba? Alam naman natin 'yun. So, yun yung sa tingin ko. Or, why don't you pick si Prime Minister Kaja Kallas ng Estonia? If she
Si
wants to
Kaya,
be a
yeah.
NATO, if she wants to be a NATO section, diba? Ayun lang naman yung doon sa akin. So, yeah, that's it. Oh, wait lang, anin ko lang to. Ayun. Ito naman na yung sa pera. Last thing about on this
The
shit.
fundraiser tonight, where he is crushing Donald Trump in the fundraising competition. The latest campaign finance reports show that the Biden-Harris reelection campaign has $56 million on hand at the end of January, while the Trump campaign had only $30 million on hand. President Biden's also raising money with
Alam
and
niyo na
for
kung
the
bakit.
Democratic National Committee, which has $24
Dahil
million
sa legal
on hand at
fees.
the end of January. The Republican National Committee has $8 million at the end of January. In the month of January alone, the Trump campaign raised $8.8 million and spent $11.4 million. Donald Trump has spent a total of $50 million on lawyers during the campaign and will spend much more. Other PACs and fundraising committees supporting the Biden-Harris ticket had a combined $117 million at the beginning of this year. And here's the part right here. Here's the part of the story that no one
Ito
who
na.
has said Joe Biden should drop out or has written that Joe Biden should drop out has ever mentioned that every other Democrat whose name shows up in these articles as a substitute for Joe Biden, as the Democratic nominee, has raised exactly zero money for a presidential campaign. No one has told you about the money. That means none of them have thought for a second about the money. Every serious
So, yun yung context nun. It's about the money. So, I do agree with him na parang this is not the time to drop President Biden. Sure, I may parang paano ba to? I'm 75% doesn't really agree with him because of his past stances during his Senate years, but I like his 25% governance. To be honest, it's better than how President Obama did during that 8 years. And the only reason why they want to drop him is because yun nga, matanda na, and they might think na he might die in office, and automatic ng replacement si VP Harris, diba? All of those things. So yun yung context ng nun. It's about the money being raised in a presidential campaign. Diba? Like, sige, sabihin na natin si Governor Newsom nga daw, ang daming pera, but that would not be enough to last until the until the general election. Kasi nga, pagkatapos ng mga conventions ng either June, July, or August, diba, may full 3 months. Tama ba? Full 2, depende kung anong month matatapos ang primary. Pwede bang 3-month election campaign, 2 months, 'di ba? So, nagets mo ba yung sinasabi ko, or
Basta kasi it's a marathon at a sprint. So yung pera dapat pangmatagalan, hindi lang yung may deadline.
Kaya yun nga, kaya nga na ko din na parang medyo dumb din yung idea to drop the president on the on his re-election campaign. Kasi nga pera pa din niya talaga ang dito. Ang nagahari at the end of the day. So, yun yung nun. Yun yung context nung na yun, nung sinabi na yun ni Lawrence O'Donnell. Kaya nagagalit din siya dun sa mga nagsasabi na yun nga, ipalitan na si President Biden, all of that thing. Ako naman, yun nga, I do share naman yung sentiments ng mga skeptics nga on his physical health. So, yun yung doon. Pero gets ko rin na who can raise the most money.
Ito naman tanong ko, bakit ayaw kay VP Harris kung halimbawa siyang papalit? Hindi ganun ba siya hindi kagaling?
I mean, in terms kasi ng campaign performance.
Assuming lang na si Biden ng 2024, hindi pa rin ba sapat na maging president si VP Kamala Harris?
No, sapat naman. But ang litmus test din kasi talaga nitong mga skeptics nga, lalo na sa progressive side is the issues, where does she stand on the issues and how she acted upon it during her previous political offices. Which is, it does matter, pero at the same time, yung ang matter rin talaga for me is how she will perform in the how can
Okay,
she
kung
perform well in
magpe-perform
the campaign. No, in the
kailangan
primary campaign.
primary campaign. Ang assumption kasi do'n siya nanalo si Biden tapos si Biden namatay in office tapos si Kamala Harris ang papalit. Ang aking tanong doon ngayon, papaano ang kanyang governing? Kasi ang ina-assume nila hindi siya magaling sa governing pero dapat ang i-check ano ba yung nagawa niya during VP nung time ng VP, 'di ba? Ang ginawa niya nung time ng VP ay naging present siya, naging present siya tapos nung una nagkaroon ng gaffe, of course. I admit na may gaffe siya sa foreign policy and
Public
other
appearance.
stuff. Pero kung binibigyan naman siya ng mga assignments na siya nag-excel like abortion rights, like voting rights, like uh, youth turnout for elections. I think she's doing good naman there. So the question is, na-answer na yung question na what is she doing in the primary campaign. Pero ang akin lang kasi, bakit takot pa rin ang mga tao sa isang Kamala Harris na maging VP, na maging president at the end of the day kung sakaling mamatay si Joe Biden? Yun ang tanong na hindi ko masagot. Yun yung tanong na hindi nila masagot at the end of the day. Lagi sinasabi ni Nikki Haley, it's Kamala Harris president. O ano naman niya yun? So what?
Para, yung
I
tirada
guess,
na yun,
ito lang sa akin, in my opinion lang.
sige.
I guess because Kamala is not charismatic.
Yun lang. So yun
Hindi siya
lang.
charismatic eh.
Oo.
Si Biden kasi, alam mo, parang yun nga, yung si Biden kasi parang yung lolo talaga eh. Yung lolo yung energy na binibigay niya, nilalabas niya. Like
At saka ano siya,
yung image niya eh. May image na siya. May image na siya na ano niya yun, na-accentuate niya yun, nagagamit yung image na yun sa kanyang to his advantage. Eh si Kamala parang ano eh, parang wala siyang image. Parang, hindi, yun nga, wala siyang charisma eh. Hindi niya nagagamit yung
the
personality.
affect.
Oo.
The affect. Walang affect si...
Ano ba yung image na gusto niya i-project? Yun eh. I guess that's why na maraming nagda-doubt na is she really good president? It's because she has very little charisma to begin with. You know?
Ay, hindi naman charisma ang kailangan.
Let's face it. Kamala was only fit because she was a diversity hire. Yeah? Sasabihin ko yun na diversity hire si Kamala Harris. Come on.
I would agree.
Huwag na natin tayo magkunwari diversity hire si Kamala Harris.
Pero to be honest kasi, kahit hindi siya piniling...
South Asian?
Pero kahit hindi...
Come on.
Pero to be honest kasi, kahit hindi siya piliin na VP nominee noong 2020, I would say na President Biden will still get a lot of black votes that time. Kasi malapit siya sa so older black voters eh. He was, diba? Like, he's in the Senate for like 36 years. That wasn't like, hindi yun nothing. I guess what I'm trying to say is parang ang galing ng mga white men, lalo na yung tulad niya na white middle class ang background na to connect with other people. And ang daming ang daming nawala sa kanya in terms ng family relations, like namatay first wife niya, yung daughter niya, namatay si Bo. So he can relate. So yeah, I would agree kay Tio na nandun yung charismatic part na yun. And may may connect si President Biden sa everyday Americans na namamatay.
Ito kasi yun. Ako naman, ang connect ko doon, despite the lack of charisma, nanalo siyang AG, nanalong senator, nanalong district attorney, first of everything. So the point is, may political skill set siya or may political paano ko ba explain yung may political abilities or political savviness si Kamala Harris to get the voters or to get into winning. Gets ba? It's about the charisma. Yun, diversity hire. Grabe ka naman. Actually, kung diversity hire, di sana kinuha nila ang ay si Cortez Masto. Mas magaling yun. Nevada. Para sa skill set. At saka ang akin lang, kung diversity hire, dahil siya yung skin color, so what? It's about time it's about time na magkaroon ng black vice president. We had a black vice president, a woman vice president. Anyway, the point is, it's offensive to say she's just a diversity hire. Kasi a white woman could also be hired and be classified as a diversity hire. So, you will forget the skill set she brings in the table. So, akin lang, let's forget about the diversity hire. Ano ba ang skill set na kayang ibigay ni Kamala Harris sa table? Ano bang kayang added value? Yun ang na-forget eh. Okay, fine, she's a diversity hire, pero maybe that diversity hire propelled the case of Joe Biden to win. Because hindi lang pwedeng black voters ang kailangan mo kunin, kailangan mo rin kunin ang mga white, ang mga young voters. Sa tingin mo, kung halimbawa ang kinuha ni Joe Biden ay a generic white woman or a generic woman, mananalo siya? I don't think so kasi baka hindi lumabas ang young voters. Hindi lang naman kasi black voters ang boboto eh. Multi-coalitional voters from black to Latino, to young to LGBT, and I think that's what Kamala Harris brings to the table. Na hindi lalagi ng oversight ng mga tao.
I guess it's not too late naman for her to change course. Pero dinarag kasi siya talaga in the primary campaign noong 2020. And nag-flip-flop din kasi siya about universal healthcare.
Di ba? Di ba? Prosecutor ka eh, di ba? Yung ginawa din sa kanya eh.
Ay actually yun nga yung actually na added bonus
Kailangan.
kay Kamala Harris, kay Joe Biden. Bakit si Kamala Harris ang kinuha? Kasi prosecutor, kailangan mo ng tough on crimes. Kasi kung ang pwedeng sabihin ni Trump kay Joe Biden, siya ay soft on crimes, socialist. Gets ba? Hindi too radical.
It's not just that. Kaso mo, di ba? Nung in-announce na si Kamala Harris, ano pa kasagsagan ng
Black Lives Matter,
May mga nakita yun, mga nag-observe na, medyo poor. Teka, a DA? Really? In this post-George Floyd era? Kaya meron mga talaga nag-doubt. Kasi nga, bakit ka mag-hire ng DA sa BP mo tapos sasabihin mo sa ano mo na we will dismantle systemic racism and police brutality as much as possible. Ano yung galamay ng mga parak yung mo di ba? Parang ganyan yung to put their language in Tagalog.
Okay, gets. Pero sinong lalagay mo doon na VP kung hindi yun kasi yung tanong, sinong VP mo kung hindi si VP Harris? Yun ang tanong.
I would agree naman doon na si VP Harris din talaga yung safest.
During that time, sinong VP mo na ilalagay mo? Kailangan mo kasi i-balance din na hindi mo lang kasi kailangan i-please ang progressive voters, ha? Kailangan mo rin mag-please ng independent voters. As much as I want na mag-focus ka lang sa progressive voters.
Si Whitmer. Kasi
hindi pa siya amazing
sa black voters eh. Did you see that there's some rappers out there who made a song about her, which means meron na siyang charisma, meron na siyang amor sa mga African American. Kaya si Whitmer.
Okay, si Whitmer.
Ang worry ko naman, ako naman, I would worry yung kay Governor Whitmer. I would worry kasi na hindi pa siya ganun
pa siya hinog.
Kahinog.
Kasi,
yan.
Yun lang yung
Kasi
disadvantage
nga,
niya, in my opinion.
yung governing niya kasi, tulad kay Governor Evers, it's a Republican state legislative control in Michigan and Wisconsin. Yun yung worry ko. Okay? And, sige, kung ako tatanungin mo kung sinong maging best, kung, ano ba to? Siguro, kung ano lang sa woman VP, yeah, I would have chosen a white woman probably. I would have probably gone with the technocrat, Senator Warren.
Ako din actually.
Warren?
Pero
Huh.
Yeah.
kaso ang
Okay.
problema dinarag na din siya ni President Trump. Pocahontas, all of that shit.
Well,
No, hindi kasi ganito.
Nagpaano pa kasi, nagpasabi pa ng, descendant ako ng Cherokee. Nako, my God. Ba't niya pag ginawa yun? Kakagago.
Well, she came from Oklahoma. So,
Reasonable.
diba? Pero we never know. Okay, anyway. Pero yun nga,
Di naman kasi
technocrat kasi
totoo
si
yung mito
Senator.
ng Cherokee princess eh. Hindi naman kasi totoo yan. Most of the time. Kasi yung Cherokee princess myth na yan, parang yun sa mga white families, especially in the South, tinatago nila yun. Kasi sa totoo lang, yung mga nagsasabi ng ganyan, meron talagang black ancestry. Tinatago nila yung pagiging black. Makes sense. It's the South after all.
Makes sense.
Sabagay. Ayun nga. Pero yun, other woman pa, siguro, sino ba maganda sacrificial lamb doon no 2020? Joke lang. Anyway, yun na nga. Yun lang, yun. Siguro si Representative Karen Bass or si Representative Val Demings.
Di ko na kilala yung mga yan.
Hindi lalong walang charisma, kung charisma rin lang naman.
Yun nga.
May intellect naman si former Representative Karen Bass, pati si
Si Karen Bass naman,
Val
tsaka si Karen Bass, mas gusto niya maging mayor ng Los Angeles.
Yun nga lang, oo. Yun yung ano niya talaga. Parang hindi siya cut out daw maging execute. Hindi daw siya cut out maging legislator. Anyway, yun lang naman yung doon. Yun lang naman yung try kong i-point out. Sana ba yung mga iba pang Wait lang. Wait. Ano to? Gagot si iyo.
Whether he is defrauding banks about the value of his real estate holdings or convincing.
Wait, bilis. Putang ina. Okay, sa circuit natin ko lang dito. Anyway, mabubugbog na pala si Mabubugbog na si former Ambassador Haley sa South Carolina.
Ngayon na ba yung election? Ngayon na ba, di ba? Ngayon nga pala yun. Sure na ba?
Sure na mabubugbog. I mean, yeah, sure. I think she's gonna lose big time. I think it's gonna be 60-30. Not gonna lie.
Alan Weisselberg, Ron Lieberman, and Matthew Calamari.
And where would the committee find more information on this? Do you think we need to review his financial statements and his tax returns in order to compare them?
Yes, and you'd find it at the Trump org.
That moment set in motion a line of inquiry that led to the order today, filed a few hours ago. And now Donald Trump has just 30 days to pay the state of New York nearly $500 million and counting.
Wala na siyang
Joining me
pangkampi.
now to discuss is Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She represents, of course, the 14th. So my first is just, it's amazing watching that tape. And I wonder if, that was your freshman year.
Yeah, one of my first hearings as well.
Did you ever imagine that line of inquiry would lead to the moment we find ourselves in now?
I mean, I don't think anybody saw the scale and the degree of this ruling that has come down. But I think even when Donald Trump was first running in 2016, people did say nobody knows Donald Trump like New Yorkers do.
Yeah.
And he had such a notorious reputation for this kind of shady dealing in construction, in real estate, in contracting, famous for not really paying out his contracts and fleecing working people all across New York City. We knew him as a fraud for
Ang lesson dito,
longer and
magbayad
better
ka
than almost
kasi.
anybody else in the country.
Magbayad ka ng
And
tama.
really, that line of
Wag ka
questioning
at saka
that we
wag ka
just saw was
magpapaload sa
inspired
bangko
by
ng
Trump
ng
links, which
value
is
na hindi abot
right
ng
by the
properties
bridge
mo.
that connects the Bronx and Queens, which is the borough that the two boroughs that I represent. And I drive across that bridge all the time, you know, going from family to family, visiting in the community. And that also was built using a public-private land deal. And so we know that there are so many of these shady dealings that are going on. And not only was this just an example of Donald Trump, you know, defrauding for his own personal enrichment, but also fleecing the working people of New York City in order to.
And then Philip Pages say na he's a blue-collar billionaire. Oh, come on. Wag na tayo maglokohan pa. We all know he got $1 million from his father. Anyway, it's too redundant now. Anyway, we can talk about another thing. We can just talk about now yung etong about sa Ukraine and sa Russia, if okay lang sa inyo.
Okay lang.
Yun diba? So, right, yeah. Anyway, it goes. Sana ba ako muna mauna? Wait lang, napin ko. Shit. No, not him. Masyado ako naiinis sa Israel eh. Let's go muna dito.
Germany's parliament has approved the deployment of one of its naval warships to the Red
Ito na,
Sea.
para mas maganda yung
The
natin.
frigate is
Ito. Ano sabi mo?
Fuck around and find out time na. Yeah, tayo ng mga Houthi stans no?
And ito na rin. We're gonna talk about this na rin in honor of the second sadversary. I say this as sad anniversary, not anniversary. Kasi the way I define anniversary, it's happy. Kung nilagyan ko ng sad. I know it's corny, but please forgive me. So yeah, this is for the sadversary. Sad anniversary. Because of course, Ukraine has been destroyed for the last 2 years.
Oo nga pala, no? Invasion began today. Holy shit.
Diba? Yeah.
Anyway.
It's 2 years.
Pero
diba nakakapagod?
Mga Houthi-chuchur muna.
Sige. Ito nga yung Red Sea. Alright, sige.
Already on its way to the region to join a European Union naval mission there, but it needed a mandate from German lawmakers to take part. The international force was set up to protect ships in the Red Sea from attacks by Houthi militants from Yemen.
The German frigate Hessen has been deployed to the Red Sea. Once it arrives, it will join the EU naval mission called Aspides. Its main task: to help protect commercial ships against Yemen's Houthi rebels.
It's about the freedom of trade and trade routes and securing the ships that pass through here on the most important trade route between Europe and Asia.
Boss.
In recent months, the Iran-backed
it's like the hypocrisy of the rules-based order. Rules-based order, guys.
Sayang wala kang si Balcon. Yun ang gusto kong marinig.
Gusto ko nga rin, sabunin nga rin yung ogag ni. Talaga? Kasi yung nakita mo, di ba? Yung nag-post siya sa GC ng tweet na very, very obviously anti-Semitic. Tapos, guys, is this true? Tama talaga si Pandem. May political bobo talaga.
Hindi ba pwedeng hindi ba pwedeng political tanga na lang? Kasi mas malala yung tanga sa bobo.
Gago ka. Pero yun nga
Joke lang ha.
Yung yung post na yun, tangina, halatang anti-Semitic na post eh. Our Jews controlled slaves. Tangina, matagal na yan matagal na yan ng mga neo-Nazi sa Amerika eh. Matagal na sinasabi ng mga neo-Nazi sa Amerika. Tapos sasabihin niya, guys, totoo ba to? Tanga. Paniwala ka naman.
Ay nako, kung nakikita lang ni Red din yung mga pinagsasabi na ni
Pero
Bangkod
basta
sa
eh,
GC.
pag nandito siya sa rules-based order, kagaya magkano yan, magra-rat na ako sa rules-based order. Lagi na sinasabi yun eh.
Moving the goalpost daw kuno. Putang ina. Anyway, let's continue this.
Houthi militia has been attacking cargo vessels in the Red Sea in response to Israel's military operations in Gaza.
Tapos tahimik yung mga not dumbs na
Oh, wait lang.
pro-Palestinians on this
Speaking of
shit.
which, teka lang, gusto ko mag-share eh.
Sige, share ka lang.
Teka lang,
Sige lang, share ka lang.
Ito, to si tarantadong kalbo.
Sige.
Ito, mag-share muna ako ah. Yan o. Kita nyo na. Yan o, tayo na to eh, nakakaga. Like, I get it. Like, yeah, you're very militantly pro-Palestine, but really? Shilling Yemen and the Houthis? Shilling Houthi Yemen? Are you fucking serious right now? Diba? Parang yung nangyari kayo niya, diba? Yung ginawa ni Hassan Piker. Yung in-interview niya yung poging membro ng Houthi. Gago yun eh.
Nangyari pala yun.
Leche ka. Hindi mo nakita yun?
Hindi.
Basta.
Di na kasi ako nanonood sa kanya eh. Tumigil na ako manood ng mga ganun tao eh.
Basta in-interview niya yung basta Houthi militant siya na nag-viral kasi daw gwapo. In-interview niya. Tapos tinan nyo ako na yung mga hobbies niya, yung ganun. Tapos yung sabi, I like One Piece. Oh, I like One Piece. Si Hassan Peter, ano yan eh. Fan niya ng One Piece eh. Pero nga, mabalik
it was a sample interview.
Parang kalbo eh. Yung
parang softball interview.
Campus ka pala eh. Gagong campus ka pala eh. Ha? Yun lang.
The US and the UK reacted by bombing Houthi targets. Germany is now also involved in securing the trade route, but the role of the Bundeswehr is limited to escorting merchant ships on their way through the Red Sea and fending off attacks.
It's only about defending against attacks. It's not about strikes on the mainland or anything like that. It's about defense against detected missiles, drones, and other things.
Due to the Houthi attacks, the amount of freight being transported across the Red Sea to Europe has decreased significantly. Over 80% fewer container ships are currently passing through the Red Sea than would be expected.
In any case, it's an important signal to the attacking Houthis and the organizations and states behind them. It's a signal where the West says, we are in international waters and we will protect international shipping and freedom of navigation.
With its contribution, Germany is now trying to make one of the world's most important trade routes safe again.
And our chief international editor, Richard Walker, is on the story. Richard, will the deployment of a German warship help restore confidence in the Red Sea as a trade route?
Yeah, well, it's certainly not going to achieve that all by itself. But as we had in the report there, this frigate will be part of an EU mission. There are several other warships from other countries involved. There's talk of France, Italy, Belgium. Denmark also recently sent a frigate to the region, and also the US and the UK have.
Wait lang, do you think ma-rescue na rin kaya yung mga ano na yan? Yung mga na-kidnap na mga
ano? Mga kinidnap, kung ano. Wala nga ako nababalitaan sa kanila eh. That's kind of concerning.
Yeah, of course it is. May Pinoy na involved and then tahimik yung mga yung mga other Pinoys about it.
Yeah.
Sige lang. Sige lang.
Saka may
sige lang. Ang ilang yung mga traitor kayo. Hindi, sige, ikaw na. Ano yung sabihin mo? Sorry.
Saka yung mga hindi nga nila hindi pa inaano ng hindi pa ganong binabalitaan ng mainstream media dito. Pati nga gobyerno they seem eerily silent on this. It's kind of weird, right?
Yep. This is what I call hypocrisy. Yeah, it is. Of course, it is a concern. Diba?
Had warships in the Red Sea for some time now. So what you really have to see this as is Germany kind of chipping in, doing its part to try to restore security.
Also, if they'll try to rescue them, I would guess na, diba, I would guess na the Houthis have multiple rocket launchers and they will try to use it na, of course, to sink down any, military or naval warships na mag-rescue dun sa mga kinidnap nilang mga tao. That would be my best guess about this thing.
In the Red Sea. And what you heard from representatives of the government speaking in the debate on this in the Bundestag during the day today was that they were very much framing it in that way, that Germany has a responsibility as a country that benefits a lot from international trade, just as other EU countries do, to try to assure the security of this trade route that is now so massively under threat and is already disrupting, as we just heard in the report there. And I think you can see from the overwhelming majority.
Do you think, kapag lahat na ng mga extremist Muslims na extremist Islamic groups would invade again Israel, sabay-sabay sila?
Sino ba? Yung mga Hezbollah, ganon?
Yeah, Hezbollah, Hamas.
Ayun nga.
Baka may mga wait lang, baka may
Iranian proxies. Yung mga Iranian proxies. I doubt it. Hindi magano yung Iran pagdating sa ganyan. I don't think so.
Ay, hindi naman niya sila ganun katanga. No, but I'm also gonna lump in kasi yung mga Al-Qaeda, ISIL,
hindi.
ISIS.
Yung mga kasi yung mga yan kalaban niya ng Hezbollah sa Houthi. Al-Qaeda sa ISIS.
Sila pinagpapatay. Pero malay mo, gawin nila na the enemy of my enemy is my friend concept. Hindi nangyayari yan. Hindi mangyayari yan.
Okay. Magkaaway talaga yung Al-Qaeda sa yung mga Saka, remember, the Houthis and Hezbollah, they're Shia Islamist groups. Al-Qaeda and ISIS are Sunni Islamist groups. Okay? Saka yun nga, ang Hezbollah saka Houthi, mga Houthi, pinaprop up yan ng Iran. Proven na yan pinaprop up sila ng Iran. Of course, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, wala naman nagpa-prop up sa kanila. Wala silang backer.
Kung meron man, mga individual lang yun. Wala silang state-sponsored backer. Kaya yun yung sinasabi mo. Individual lang ang ISIS. Sabagay, tama ka. Yeah, you got a point there. Pero imaginein mo yun, tapos kiligin yung mga yung mga pro-revolutionary na mga tao, lalo na dito sa Pinas. Na sugurin yung Israel, tapos sabihin din ng mga nutdumps na yun, "Death to Israel, bitch!" or something.
Ano yun?
Hindi, baka makikicheers. Hindi, sabi ko, baka makicheers sila online if ever mangyari yung ganong hypothetical scenario na sinabi ko, na they might in the case na
yung mga yung Hamas, Hezbollah, ganon, i-invade nila yung Israeli mainland. Yung ganon na, glory to the martyrs, ganyan. Yung mga reverse triangle emojis sa Twitter. Yung mga alam mo na.
Talagang love na love nila yung mga Palestinians. Tangina nyo, mag-Islam na lang kayo.
Yung mga reverse triangle emojis.
I mean, joke lang, pero nakakainis kasi sila. Alam naman natin yung dalawa mga dumbass, pieces of shit. Ano, tangina. Ano ba yan? Ito na nga yun. Lalo na itong mga
Ukraine
bot
is
na
marking an
to.
anniversary of infamy. 2 years since Vladimir Putin launched his war on a nation he denies even exists. A war Russians are forbidden even to call a war. Ukraine has survived, paying a terrible human cost. Recently, its forces have been on the back foot.
Wait lang, Red, may tanong ako sa'yo. Since member naman ng Netherlands ng NATO, would you want Ukraine to be part of it after the war?
Even nga, to be honest, gusto ko na nga rin siya ngayon maging member ng NATO up to this day. Ngayon pa lang eh. I think it's even wiser. Para matigil na tong war na to. Pero may Orban, may mga mag-iisip na
Orban, Erdogan.
Yeah, Orban, Erdogan, tapos may mga takot na kulang sa balls na member states. So naisip ko, siguro dapat noon pa lang ginawa ng member ng EU ang Ukraine para natakot si Russia or nagdalawang isip na i-invade. Kaya malakas ang Russia na gawin yan kasi they could not be held accountable. What's the worst thing that they could do? What's the worst thing the West could do? Yun yung lagi na isip ni Russia.
Pero ang and ang magiging argument lagi naman din ng Russia dyan is it's the West's fault naman daw as usual. Seducing daw yung mga Baltic states and other former Soviet Soviet states to of course align sa EU and sa NATO, 'di ba? Which is kasalanan ba talaga ng West? Of course, for me parang hindi naman eh. Like they
Hindi
chose
naman
on their
kasi
own volition.
Ito kasi yung point eh. Ang gusto ni Vladimir Putin ay magkaroon siya ng influence sa former Soviet Unions. Magkaroon siya ng influence sa mga former Soviet Unions. Yan ang talaga eh. Pero the point is, ayaw na ng mga former Soviet Unions ma-align sa Russia kasi nga, human rights policies, tapos hindi ka naman ganun kayaman.
More specifically the post-Soviet states na European, like say Ukraine, of course, Ukraine, the Baltic states, yun. Kasi kasi pag Central Asia na yung pinag-uusapan, iba yan eh, ibang usapan.
Ayan nga, that is European, medyo, paano ko ba explain? Mas gusto iba na kasi yung values nila. So, ang akin lang, kung magkaiba kayo ng values, ba't ka pa magpapasakop at pag-gusto ng influence? Halimbawa, wala siyang pinagkait. Iba siya sa influence ng French sa Africa. Iba siya influence ng Spain sa Latin America. Gets ba yung point ko? Kung iba na kayo ng values, what's the point of sticking with the former empire? Yun lang naman yung akin. So, I don't think it's a kasalanan ng West if they provide that protection kasi nga, shared values. Ang gusto ni Putin ang gusto lang naman ni Putin ay talagang magawa ng every whim. Kumbaga, ang point niya lang kasi, ginawa nito ng West. Ang akin lang, kung kasalanan ng iba, gagawin mo din. Ano gayon? Katangahan na masyado yun. Alam mo na nga mali, gagawin mo pa. Alam ba, nagloko si Jowa, magloloko ka na din. Hindi ba pwedeng gumawa ka ng ibang paraan?
Okay. Diba?
Anong logic yun?
Okay. Pero yun nga, ang naging nga din dun is yung anyway, basta yun na yun. Yeah, I get naman yung point mo. Sabihin ko lang sana is, galit siya dun sa sinubukang attempt ng Georgia to, sumali ng EU, all of that bullshit. So anyway.
Ceding small amounts of territory on land, even as it scores important successes at sea. In 2023, the front lines remained largely in place. Ukraine's much vaunted offensive failed to repeat the successes of a year before, where Ukraine recaptured big swaths of territory occupied by Russia. But even outgunned and outmanned, Ukraine is reasserting its hold on that territory. Pozad Pokrovsky lies in southern Ukraine between Kherson and Mykolaiv. When the Russians held Kherson, this village was no man's land, a buffer zone sacrificed to stop Russian forces advancing on Mykolaiv. The plan worked, but meant the village itself was almost completely destroyed. DW's Carolina Chimoy went to meet evacuated villagers who are starting to return.
Sayang kasi si Aaron pa ako wala.
This used to be home
Yun ang
to
gusto kong kausap pagdating sa
2,400
military
people.
nito
It was sacrificed to
Aztec
stop the Russians taking more
Sayang.
Ukrainian territory in early 2022.
Ay, grabe oh.
One of the main buildings.
Paano pag nangyari sa atin to? 'Di ba? Because of China. Ano sasabihin ng mga gagong Wumo at Vatnik na to? Syempre sasabihin na naman nila, kasi inactivate nyo na naman yung putang ng EDCA, ganyan, or MDS ganyan. MDT pala, ganyan eh.
Okay, ito naman ang tanong ko, kung hindi activate yun, di lalong, the point is, China will invade if it wants to invade regardless of the situation. Ngayon, yun ang assumption doon. Ngayon, ang kailangan mo lang gawin, protektahan yun preemptively. Kailangan protektahan ng Southeast Asia yung kanilang territories. Yun lang yun. Ano na naman ang response yun? At saka ito naman
sa mga ano na yan.
Bakit lagi kang matatakot sa higher power? Taiwan nga hindi natatakot. Vietnam nga hindi natatakot.
Hindi ako. Hindi kami ni Theo. Yung mga nutdubs na
Yun yung point ko. Hindi na alam ko naman hindi kayo. Pero yung mga nutdubs, bakit Taiwan hindi natatakot? Bakit ang Indonesia hindi takot? Bakit ang Vietnam hindi takot? Tayo na lang ang takot. Ano gayon?
Oo.
Kaloka?
Ewan ko sa mga yun. Siguro himod na himod sa China kasi lalo na din yung mga Mawis na Pilipino, di ba? Matanga pala kayo eh. Stop nyo sipain. Paalis dito. Mga treasonous. Nakakainis. Oo nga, nakakainis. Like, anong gagawin natin? Surrender na lang tayo. Ganon.
Hindi lalo na.
Imperialism. Kaya nga. At saka into imperialism din pala tong mga tanga na to eh. Kung di ba naman isa't kalahat. Di ba naman mga bobo?
The House of Culture completely destroyed. This is the price they paid.
Ganyan din mangyayari sa atin.
70% of this village was completely destroyed. Each day there could be hundreds of impacts when the Russians were only a couple of kilometers away. Now people have started to come back to what remains of their home. Even though the war is not over, but at least their village is not the battlefield anymore.
Last year's work to
Marawi
demine the
lang.
land and clear up the
Ipangatapos yung
shells
Marawi.
is done. And now some villagers are coming back to plan how to rebuild their homes.
This was my grandson's room when he was a kid. Now he's 25 and he will graduate from military school in Kyiv and be sent to Kherson in March.
He tells us how the Russian attacks began when they were all still here.
I was cooking soup when suddenly, bang, it started. Oh my God, airplanes flying. And then, like today, twice, I start shaking at the sound of the bang.
His neighbor is also here, planning how to return to the village of his birth. He'll have to oversee the demolition of what remains of his house before he can rebuild. All this while bombs are still flying only a half-hour drive away in Kherson City.
Who needs this war? How many have died already? It's hard for mothers to bear. The main thing is we want this to end as soon as possible and get them out of our land.
A significant portion of the electricity system has already been restored. efforts are underway to restore the water supply.
Oh my gosh.
Posad Pokrovsk is part of a pilot project of the We Build Ukraine reconstruction program led by the State Agency for the Restoration of Ukraine. Larisa is a member of the Village Council, which is overseeing the project. One of the trickier things she's dealing with is helping people who've not only lost their homes, but also their property ownership documents.
I'm against the war. I want the Russians defined as terrorists. Let the whole world stand against them. Why should our people die? I'm against the war. It should have stopped yesterday.
Я проти війни. Я хочу, щоб вона закінчилася ще вчора.
We ask her what it was like living here before the war.
I'll start crying. We had a wonderful life, but we didn't realize it until we had to pack our things and leave because we started being shelled on March 14th.
There's little left standing. The school, the kindergarten, gone. Just this single store is still operational. So why are villagers willing to return?
This is home. Home, you know? Home. I've been living here for 40 years.
A home the locals here are determined to bring back to life.
And for more, I'm joined now by Justin Crump. He's a military veteran and CEO of Civiline, an international intelligence and risk analysis consultancy based in the UK.
I mean, first of all, it is, I'd say it's lovely to be back with you again on air, but it's tragic. 2 years into this, and I think 2 years of suffering, as we just saw in that coverage. And the world has learned, I think, a lot in some ways, and it's learned not very much in others. I mean, I think the big thing we've learned is that the Cold War peace dividend that we've enjoyed since 1990 or so is at an end. We live in a more dangerous world. We live in a world where large states will use force to achieve their ends. And without some of the safeguards and some of the ways we've seen fighting develop over the last 30 years, you're seeing this real brutality of modern combat.
Kaso, baka hindi pa maging handa yung okay. Anyway, yun nga, yung ano naman, yung about dun sa sa Netherlands. wala pang bagong government ulit
Tagal pa. Pero getting there, feeling ko naman. Feeling ko.
Pero yun nga, like, of course, it's for me, it's a concern, diba? Like, paano na yan, like, kailangan pa i-build up, of course, ang defense and yung ng economy pati. Diba? Anyway, yeah, it's a worry na
may caretaker prime minister naman kami so far. So, it's not a problem.
Pero yun nga, ang lang na hindi pa maka-form ng maayos na government. So, yun yung doon. Like, yun yung flaw doon kasi din sa sa parliamentary din Hindi ganun kadaling mag-form ng government since halo ang executive sa legislative. Ayun lang naman.
Hindi naman. Kaya mahirap mag-form ng government kasi walang majority agad. Ang majority kasi kami, hindi plurality. So kailangan talaga mag-usap-usap, mag-coalition talks, ganon.
Okay. Sabagay. That's fair. Oo nga. Tapos yun nga, sana lang talaga, maayos na rin talaga ng Yung Poland niya, akala ko nga,
Donald Tusk.
Magkaka-chaos na. Kasi, ang nasa presidency, yung nga ulit yun? Ang nasa presidency pa rin, yung Taga-Law and Justice, party, which sucks, of course, but magagawa about it.
And I think apart from anything else, that's something we should bear in mind. And of course, European nations in particular, looking at what that means for defense and security. More prosaically, there have been many lessons from the war. There's a saying in the military, you always prepare for the last conflict. And then the conflict you get is different to what you expected. And I think we've learned a lot about how society can resist aggression and invasion, and particularly the innovation that Ukraine has showed. And as you mentioned, Ukraine assertive at sea, a country that doesn't have a navy is sinking roughly a Russian warship a week at the moment. Just because of the way in which they've been able to embrace modern technologies. So much to learn. I mean, we could talk about that for the entire rest of the program, barely scratch the surface on the military prisons. But and I certainly wouldn't want to bore the listeners with that. But I mean, it's a hugely shocking event and a hugely shocking 2 years, and it remains shocking now that we've been talking about it for so long, and this situation continues.
In the report we just saw, we met a Ukrainian man asking who needs this war, and I'd like to extend that question to you. Who needs this war?
Ito lang yung parang dark joke ko about this war. Inuk nyo na yung Russia, inuk nyo na yung yung Kremlin. But I know that's easier said than done. But kasi parang naiirita na ako. Like I really cannot handle it anymore. So anyway, ito na. Ito, maninira ulit tayo ng right wing
They did invite me, as they always do.
Your speaking fee was too high.
Yeah,
si Tommy Vitor and Brian Tyler Cohen.
Oo.
Si Tommy, kilala mo naman ata si Tommy Vitor.
Hindi, si Brian
pero si Tommy Vitor, dati siyang tao ni former President Obama sa White House.
He was a little too happy. They spend it all on Vivek Ramaswamy.
Ito na.
I'm Tommy Vitor.
I'm Brian Tyler Cohen.
And today we're going to be drafting the craziest
Last topic natin since wala na si...
This episode of Liberal Tears is brought to you by Z-Biotics, the pre-alcohol probiotic. Your first drink for a better tomorrow.
We are right now in the midst of CPAC yet again.
Right in the middle of it.
We are in the middle of the fiery inferno that is that dumpster fire.
Star Wars bar scene of Republican politics. It's the Conservative Political Action Conference. It's this annual conference of far right, formerly very fringe political figures in the Republican Party, but over time, it's just become the Trump show. And, the establishment Republicans who once made fun of CPAC and stayed away from it, now go to CPAC, bow down, kiss the ring, suck up to its organizers, and show up and speak.
You may have seen the golden...
Parang siyang, yung FVG, parang boxer. Sabi ko sa'yo, political cult na yan hindi na yan mawawala. Kahit mamatay yan, may papalit. Anyway, that's the sad thing about the Republican Party now. So wala na tayong magagawa doon.
Statue of Donald Trump. That was a CPAC installation.
I just can't imagine a worse way to spend my time.
Agreed. And so with that said, we're going to spend our time right now talking about it.
Yeah, with that said, we watched countless hours of YouTube videos from CPACs to put together this show for you because we watch CPAC so you don't have to.
That's right.
Call in the air?
Heads.
Yep, thank you for that.
Kind of screwed up there. I think it was heads and I flipped it over by accident. So listen, it was a broken play. We're going heads. You're up.
Let's do for my first choice. I'm going to go with Good Riddance, Tulsi.
Now, today's Democratic Party is actively working to undermine our God-given rights and freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. And they try to censor speech that they don't like. And they label it as, well, this is misinformation, disinformation, so-called hate speech or violent speech. And we have to censor this speech to protect you. I know this has happened to me. It's probably happened to a lot of you. But in doing so, they're undermining our civil liberties. And they're abusing their power, working hand in glove with their partners in the corporate media.
Alam mo kung anong kulang sa kanya? Maging Republican na talaga. Yun ang kulang sa kanya, maging Republican na lang talaga. Member. Tapos okay na.
Saan man siya tatakbo?
Wala. Pero kino-consider siyang VP. May interest. Si former President Trump sa kanya. So, ayun, baka kuning VP at the end of the day. Pero, imposible naman. Doon wala doon.
Yeah, and in big tech.
This kind of thing drives me fucking nuts because conservatives will play the victim and pretend that they're censored Tulsi Gabbard is on stage talking to a massive auditorium, all of which is streamed on a massive, sprawling right-wing media ecosystem. It's repeated and talked about on Fox News, which is the biggest cable network of every single cable network. Like, where are these people censored? I would love for them to be censored, so I didn't have to hear them. She's whining about censorship
Sa Twitter. Censored sila sa Twitter. But you probably know that.
here. Republicans are passing
Ryan.
don't say gay laws across the country. They say that you can't read certain books. If you say that January 6th wasn't an insurrection, you will be excommunicated from that party. If you say an ill word of Trump, you will be excommunicated from that party. So you've got about as much freedom to speak your mind in the GOP as you had in the Soviet Union.
I gotta say, the white suit looked great though.
I think we can get a sponsor out there who might be interested in dressing
Yeah.
Tommy for the next episode.
Hey, Indochino. Call me. Call your boy.
Bagay daw sa
For
kanya.
my first pick,
Parang
Ryan,
bagay naman sa kanya.
I
White,
am gonna go
white
with
suit.
Roger Stone dancing to MAGA rap.
Oh yeah, oh no, we can't go out like that. Trump 2021, yeah, he running it back. I just got a call from General Flynn, he told me that's facts.
Ang
Democrats, don't tell me
cringe.
how you feel about that. Who won Trump won? Who won Trump won? Watermark the baddest 45, the chosen one.
Have you seen the documentary about the talking heads Stop Making Sense?
No.
When he's wearing like the giant suit and he's kind of like popping around in it. We'll cut to a clip because it is uncanny. But this is Roger Stone, a fringe political figure. I think he's a Nixon tattoo on his back. He was seen as someone who had been excommunicated from the Republican Party. Then he became a Trump guy, and now he's fully back in. And now he's dancing with some weird.
If there was
rapper.
any worry that the Democrats might be losing Gen Z, I feel like all you have to do is play that one clip and then we're good.
We're good. It's cringecore.
Okay, from there, let's go to my next choice, which is going to be Matt Schlapp, slapped with lawsuits.
CNN has obtained new information and text messages that appear to back up the sexual assault claims made last week by a male Republican strategist against a powerful and influential conservative. Matt Schlapp has denied the accusation. The strategist says that in the weeks before the election, Schlapp groped and fondled his groin during a car ride back from two area bars in Atlanta. Schlapp runs the organization that stages the
Tapos hindi daw
Conservative
sexual
Political
assault
Action Conference, a
ang ano.
must-attend event for most
Ang
Republicans.
mga conservative.
So I would just say there is nothing
galing.
more poetic than the guy responsible for a conference platforming abject bigotry, himself not only being gay, which would be fine if not for the hypocrisy in fomenting hate against the rest of his community, but also being an alleged sexual abuser, like in a party
Ako,
that brands itself
kung
as party
sino yung
of
ano,
values.
kung sino
That was
yung
talking about one
describe
specific
conservative,
allegation of him
sila pa talaga
groping a
yung
staffer
malibog
for
din.
Herschel Walker's campaign in 2022. The Washington Post
Grabe.
reported that Schlapp also tried to kiss a male employee against his wishes after a CPAC event in 2017. And
So,
then at
at yung
another
naman yung
event, he
akin,
stripped down to his
okay lang naman malibugan. Wala namang ano yun. Wala namang kaso yun. Ang kaso lang na if you sexually assaulted someone yari, without their consent, yari ka talaga. Pero, ito lang, like, you can admit it na I daydream of having sexual fantasy. Wala namang masama doon. Maybe morally, merong masama. Pero, pinili niyo yan eh. Ginusto niyo yan eh. Diba? Like, ang ano lang, it's hypocrisy 101. Doon lang ako talagang naiirita. Like, sabi ko, wala namang masama maging malibog. Diyos ko. Wala naman yung akin. Wala na siya masabi.
his underwear and rubbed himself against another
Ako
employee
din eh,
without his consent. So this is
na-flabbergasted
pattern of
ako eh.
behavior. And also, setting aside these sexual assault allegations, Matt Schlapp is just a scummy lobbyist whose wife worked in the Trump administration, and they just trade off of their access to the Trumps, and they trade off their access to CPAC. It's just one gigantic grift machine.
Right.
My next pick, I'm going to go with Candace Owens's bear sex rant.
Similar to the human species, when female bears give birth and are nursing their cubs, they cannot go into heat. But, and this is what the Papa Bears have worked out, if a nursing mother loses her cubs, the lactation will stop and she will once again become receptive to breeding. So male bears kill their cubs for sex, really, is what it comes down to. Lately, I've been left wondering what our human world might look like if we all...
Now I'm wondering bakit yan yung tinutukoy mo sa sipak.
Tapusin kasi muna natin.
Sorry.
all drew inspiration from such a notion, a world where even seeing a child signaled a respectable threat and a retreat from would-be predators.
2 questions, thoughts questions. 1, don't compare people to animals. It's the definition of dehumanization. 2, I don't think I follow the point. If we took a lesson from the bear community, wouldn't that mean that guys were just running around trying to kill kids all the time?
I don't know what the weird obsession is with like sexualization and breeding and like their inability to differentiate between the animal kingdom and humans.
Did
And
you get
it's
some
just
bear spray?
It's
Wouldn't
just
that help
so
with this?
weird. Okay, for my next choice, I'm gonna go with Obamacare is like the Hunger Games.
It's very much like Capital One and the Capitol in District 1 in the Hunger Games. The Affordable Care Act is a con. In reality, it's unaffordable, callous, and cruel. Our country's equivalent to the Hunger Games tributes will be the patients who die under this law.
This puts on full display how full of shit these Republicans are when they fearmonger about something. Like, they claim that the ACA would lead to death panels. It didn't. They claim that if we didn't have these bathroom bills, that kids would get assaulted in bathrooms by people of the opposite sex. Never happened. So every single culture war is eventually exposed as a con. The thing is that by the time you realize it, they've already moved on to the next one. But like, this puts that on full display because just with the benefit of a few years of hindsight, you see that that was complete and total bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, 40 million people now have healthcare coverage because of the ACA.
Yeah.
And initially, after it was passed, you saw Republican governors in red states rejecting free money from the federal government for Medicaid expansion just for political purposes. Finally, like a decade plus later, you're starting to see Republicans in red states like coming out and publicly saying like, maybe that was stupid to not take the free money from the federal government and like give our constituents healthcare that they desperately need. They're finally changing their ways, but yeah, idiots like that didn't help. For my next pick, I'm gonna go with Mike Lindell.
Di ko nga nag-gets yung
Why don't you
kaya
ask me
sabi
about the
sa'yo.
helicopter? Why don't you ask me about the parachutes that are going into Canada right now with pillows? With pillows,
Tell me
remember
about
that?
the parachutes.
That was your other buddy, Zach, from the Daily Beast.
Where's the parachutes? What parachutes?
But then you don't read the news, right? You
I
guys
don't
are
read
camping.
whatever your news
No,
you're
really?
talking
What
about.
news
I
do you
don't know.
read? Your own news
Yun!
source? You guys are a horrible, horrible, horrible outlet.
That was a great clip there of Mike
Dito na si
Lindell
Hans.
losing his mind on some
Balkon.
reporter in the hallway, and like nobody
Hello.
around him thought,
Ayun.
"Oh God, this man is hemp."
Ang pinaka-con yung millennial sa GC. Joke lang.
Having a mental break, I should go help him. They all filmed it and they cheered for it.
Yeah.
Because it's just entertainment for these people.
Entertainment
Walang ata
and they're on
millennials.
board. Yeah. It's good entertainment for them.
Hindi Ano ikaw lang. Hindi kaya.
Sino pa ba?
Hindi kaya. Ang dami. Ikaw, si Sir Kurt, tas si Red, si... Sino pa ba? Si Alvin? Ata. Bakit?
Wala lang.
Okay.
Naiinyo na ako.
Anyway,
This guy's on my team.
Okay, bye muna.
Ano?
Bye
Okay.
muna.
Sige.
See you.
Thanks. Sige. Salamat din. Kami lang. Tayo na lang dalawang ano.
Ha?
Ay,
Umalis na?
lagi ako. Boss.
Late na pala ako.
Wala si Red. Umalis na.
Nge.
Tayo na lang dalawa. Tayo dalawa lang muna.
Ano meron?
Nag-usap lang kami about
Ano nagsimula?
topic. Mga 8:30. Na-late. Nagpalit lang
kanina
ako
pa.
nun. 8 dapat. Wala na. Na-late lang ako. Ng ilang ano. Anong gagawin ko? Okay lang yan.
Next time, swaga. Dami nyo lang ginagawa.
Ay, alis ka ba?
Hindi. Naka-ano lang talaga. Naka-forma lang ako. Minsan
work
ginagawa
from
ko
home.
yun. Naka-forma lang ako sa bahay.
Anyway, sige, magano tayo. Usap tayo ng mga ano mo. Mga nakita mong kagaguhan for the day sa showbiz.
Wala. There's nothing. Si Frank Miano. Yun.
Sino?
Frank Miano. Di mo napansin? Baka recently nakikita mo, dami niyang mga ano eh. Open-minded ka ba, pre? Open-minded ka ba, pre? Mga ganun.
Putangina, open-minded ka daw ba, putik na yan. I mean, oo. Tapos, anong next yung itatanong?
Ano mo na lang, pakita ka sa itong video niya.
Sige.
Messenger.
Sa Messenger ba?
Actually,
Kala ko
dapat ginawa
isi-share
ko
mo yung ano.
Dapat ginawa ko itong news kaso late ako sa balita.
Kaya mo na. Better late than never, I guess.
Hindi, ibig sabihin, para sa YouTube. Kasi ako yung late
Oo
ako.
nga. Hindi. Basta naunahan ka na.
Pero gusto ko talaga cultural stuff. Alam mo ba, yun sa ano ko, Alvi Benitez, Ivana Alawi, 14,000 views na ako.
Alam mo na.
14K views ako sa isang video, tapos sa isa, 9,600, tapos yung una, 4,000. Dami.
Ay, my God. Pag pinolitika mo yung chismis kasi, yung showbiz kasi, nako, daming marites na lalabas na.
Oo, man. Oo, talaga.
Si Ivana Alawi pa naman din. Thirst trapper yan.
Oo. True.
Diba? Thirst trapper yan, gag.
Kakatawin mga comments, sabi, when there's smoke, there's fire. Don't be a homewrecker, Ivana. You deserve the best, not a married man. Be a good example to your siblings. Please. Kay dala ko lang si Ivana Alawi.
Ano na?
Kay dala ko lang si Ivana Alawi.
Ano nga ba siya? 27? So, 27 ka na din. Okay.
28 ako sa April.
Ipa-private ano ko na to. Tanggalin ko na recording. Ipa-private ano ko na to. Discussion natin to. Teka na.